Teacher accused of Arkansas's murders admits he killed Devil's Den's hikers, police say. Teacher Andrew James McGann is accused of killing Clinton David Brink and Christian Amanda Brink while they were hiking in Arkansas Devil's Den State Park. So this is out of NBC News, and it has several different journalists' names attached to this. You can see this here. And see if I can get rid of that. That's unrelated to the article. So it has Minnie Vaughn Burke, Daniel Arkin, Marlene Linthang, and Rebecca Cohen. So an Arkansas couple, they were killed on Saturday while they were hiking in a state park with two young daughters. They were stabbed to death in what appears to have been a random attack, authorities said on Thursday. Investigators believe that Clinton David Brink, he was 43, was attacked first at Devil's Den State Park, and his wife Christian Amanda Brink, who was 41, took the children to safety. She then returned to help her husband, authorities said at a news conference. Andrew James McGann is his name. He was the teacher who had moved to Arkansas from Oklahoma and was arrested on Wednesday at a barbershop in Springdale, Arkansas, after a days-long manhunt and booked on charges of capital murder, jail records show. So he was appointed a public defender during the first court appearance Friday. McGann, he was 28 years old and was ordered to be held without bond. NBC's affiliate KNWA of Rogers, Arkansas reported the couple's children were ages 7 and 9 years old and they were not injured. The officials did not believe that they were the targets. A motive is very unclear, so that is still a part of the investigation. Arkansas State Police Director Mike Hager said, "I can tell you that we have no reason to believe that there was any known association between the suspect and our victims." Authorities said that McGann's DNA matched the DNA found at the scene and that he had made statements to investigators indicating that he had committed these heinous acts. The trails at the Devil's Den have remained closed, so the Devil's Den is not open. So this is the couple that was murdered at Devil's Den State Park in Arkansas. Kristen Amanda Brink and Clinton David Brink. Clinton's sister, Katrina Hutchinson, said the couple and their children had just moved to the state about 3 weeks ago. The family said Clinton and Christian died protecting their little girls. They deserve justice. The family said in a brief statement the couple have another daughter who was not with them on that trail. A blood trail. The hiker discovered a crime scene after finding the couple's daughters alone, according to a preliminary report from the prosecutor office for the state 4th Judicial District. The hiker got the girls safe off the trail and then went to find the parents. The hiker found the deceased couple and called 911, the report said. State police responded and officers found a trail of what is believed to be the victim's blood leading to the crime scene, the report said. Through interviews with witnesses, police learned a man left the trail with what appeared to be blood on his face and then got into a black sedan, which was later determined to be a Kia Stinger, the report said. Authorities previously said witnesses described seeing a black four-door sedan with tape partly covering the license plate. Police tracked the Stinger to Springdale, where the suspect was arrested on Wednesday, the prosecutor report said. Hager said that McGann sustained an injury during the attack that caused a loss of blood, which was used to link him to the crime. Officers also saw cuts on the suspect's hands and found blood inside his car, according to the preliminary report. A police sketch of the Devil's Den State Park murder suspect is pictured here. So during a search of his home, there were articles found there that are consistent with being involved in the particular crime, Hager said. Brandon Carter, Washington County's prosecuting attorney, said that his office will not waive the death penalty. Arrested during a haircut, Adriana Guadalupe Ruiz Avalos, a barber at Lupita's Beauty Salon in Springdale, said she had been cutting McGann's hair for about 5 minutes. Then a law enforcement officer asked whose black car was parked outside. She told NBC News that McGann appeared to hesitate before he answered that it was his. The officer asked McGann a few questions inside the shop and then took him into custody, she said. Ruiz Avalos said that because she watches a lot of true crime docuseries, she made sure to leave his hair on the floor. I know police want to have hair in cases like this, so I left it there, she said. McGann did not talk while he was getting his hair cut and seemed very reserved, very timid, and very shy, she said. She said that she was really saddened by the deaths. I'm thinking about what those 2 girls went through. I was just thinking about them. I had my hands on that monster. Springdale is about 30 miles north of the state park where the couple was killed. McGann has taught at several schools. This is what is very disturbing. State Police Maj Stacy Rhodes said McGann recently moved to Arkansas from Oklahoma, where he had worked at several schools. He was hired as a teacher in Springdale Public School in Arkansas, but had not yet started, a district administrator said. He did not at any time come into contact with Springdale students or the families that we serve, Superintendent Jared Cleveland said in a statement. McGann had worked for about a year in Sand Springs Public Schools in Oklahoma, but resigned in May to move out of the state, and the district said this. During 2023-24 school year, he was a 5th grade teacher at the Spring Creek Elementary School in Oklahoma. Broken Arrow Public Schools said McGann left at the end of the school year to work out of state and faced no disciplinary action while he was employed. He had passed background checks for his employment in both Oklahoma District as well as for the state education department. A woman whose son was in McGann's class in Spring Creek said that he was awkward around the parents and struggled to make eye contact. This was during parent-teacher conferences. So she said that he was pretty quiet, but all the kids loved him, including her son. He started a running club for students. So he was also employed during school year 2022-23 with the Louisville Independent School District in Texas, a spokesperson said on Thursday. He was placed on an administrative leave in spring of 2023 from Donald Elementary School following concerns related to classroom management, professional judgment, and student favoritism. This is what the Texas district said. Donald's parent, Lindsay Camp Poliak, said McGann periodically taught her son. She said that she was among parents who had concerns that he was not properly teaching the children and that some students were falling behind. She also said she noticed grooming behavior. The district said in the message to the school community that an internal investigation did not have any evidence of inappropriate behavior with a student. Now, this is where things get really scary. Poliak said that her son told her that Mr. McGann loves to play tag. He plays tag at recess every day with girls. She said her son also told her that he would give out candy and special prizes to the female students. Poliak recalled going to the school for events and seeing female students flocking around him. In early May, late April, other parents started telling me that he was having special lunches during the lunch break where all the kids would go to the cafeteria, and then they would go. He would ask them if they would have lunches with him in the classroom. He would have the girls stay, which was weird, Poliak said. Other moms alleged that he had encouraged some girls to even sit on his lap. Let me read that again. Other moms alleged that he had encouraged some girls to sit on his lap. The district said in a message to the school community that an internal investigation did not find any evidence of inappropriate behavior with a student. Sitting on a teacher's lap, a male teacher's lap, and you ask all the girls to come to your room from the cafeteria after they get their lunch and sit in your room and have lunch with you, and then sit on your lap. That sounds like it's very inappropriate to me. So it goes on to read that she said parents raised their concerns to the school principal. In its message, the school community, the district said that its investigation determined McGann's classroom management and professional judgment were below the district expectations, but that there were no evidence of inappropriate behavior with the student. He resigned from the district in May of 2023, probably because people were starting to notice the grooming and the inappropriate behavior that he was displaying, and the kids were trying to tell their parents that they noticed something that was odd about this man. And he probably knew how to say things that sounded convincing, and he knew how to talk his way out of a situation. Apparently they weren't on to who he was, but turns out he had an even darker side to him. And this is the sketch that they had of the suspect, who is now in custody, and this is the couple, unfortunately, that succumbed to this person. And they said it was a random attack. This is sad. So my question is if he had all this odd behavior and things were going on, and the parents, the kids even noticed that something wasn't right, I mean, how do they vet these people? You know, maybe he didn't have any prior history of any behavior issues or anything going on, so that might have been the reason why it made it harder for them to see what kind of person he was. But this is really scary. Now, there are some really good educators that are out there, and they get treated really poorly at some of these schools. And then there's some people who somehow they fly under the radar, or they wiggle through the cracks, and you don't know that they have a darker side to them, such as this. And that's the sad, unfortunate part of the world of education. And when you learn about these things, there are people that they find out they're pedophiles that end up working at these schools. So what it sounds like this was a case of, that he might have been involved with pedophilia. I know there was one time back, they had caught some people. They said it was a ring, a pedophile ring that was going on, and there was more than one instructor that was involved in this, and that they were actually swapping videos, and they had took photos of kids, and they were doing different things. And I've heard stories where people invite kids to their homes and don't tell the parents, or they act like they're going to drive their kids to their home, and they don't take the kids home. They take them to their apartment or their house and take photos of the kids, and then they share them with other people who are involved in the child pornography. And I've heard of a lot of different things that happen like that, and it's really scary. But somehow these people, they are able to get employed. They're able to somehow, I guess they're able, what is amazing to me is that they're able to go through the series of tests and complete those tests and do well. They got book knowledge, but they turn out to be like this. And you got people, maybe they're not able to do all of those things right away, and it takes some more time to try to get their foot in the door, but they're good people, and they just don't seem to get in that door. But here you got these ones, they somehow slip through the cracks. It just seems crazy to me, but I've seen this happen before. But yeah, this is really sad. And somehow, when people say that something's not right about these individuals, they're able to get in these professions, and nobody suspects that they're a killer or they're a pedophile, is what it sounds like this whole thing's about. And I would bet, I don't know if they're going to search his home or his residence and find any other things on him. I don't know if he's moved and cleaned up his everybody has digital footprints. If he's involved in a ring, or if he's involved in watching movies or things like that, because I heard those people are like that, where they share movies among other people who are involved in that kind of activity. Maybe that's why he moved to different districts, because he was a predator and he was looking to prey upon these girls, these female children. And so a lot of this is going on. Now I'm gonna go a little further. It's sort of unrelated to the story, but kind of related in some ways, but since we're talking about young girls. So what I've noticed is here in California, they made it a felony now for people who are involved in picking up minors. If they pick up minors, that it used to be, I believe, a misdemeanor, but they bumped it up to a felony now. If you're picking up girls that are underage and they're minors, they don't have any regard for what the girls are going through, that they're being trafficked and that they're being abused. They could have been kidnapped, and maybe they are threatened. Their lives are threatened every day because they're exposed to these predators. And so we have different places that I notice here in California and in LA County where they're called tracts, and they're basically prostitution tracts. And like I was telling somebody I knew, I said I remember when I was a kid that it seemed like there were older women that were doing things like that, but now these prostitutes that we're seeing, they don't look older, they don't look like women, they're kids, they're girls, they're babies on the street. They look like they've been kidnapped, or they run away from home, maybe run away from foster homes. They might be abused girls, and then they run right into an even worse situation, and they're trafficked, they're abused, they're raped, they're beaten, they're threatened, and they run into these people who are basically paying money. They go to work, they look like normal men that go to work, they might even have girlfriends and wives at home, but they pick these minors up and they have intimate relations. They take them to the hotels. We have Figueroa, we have Western, we have the Hollywood area, probably many other areas where these girls, you see them walking out there and they look like kids, wearing makeup and no clothes hardly. And then I also know that some people had mentioned to me that some of these girls, they have like the pimps that are different now. They're like part of gangs. And the gangsters, sometimes the girls will set these men up and rob the men. But the gangs are the ones that are setting things like that up, is what I was told. And that sometimes you can get attacked. They might corner the Johns, the guys that pick these minors up, and they might beat them up and rob them for their wallets and things like that. So it's all around risk to everybody becomes victimized by all of this. So yeah, so I'm not surprised, but I notice these predators will sometimes pick up these girls, and sometimes I see girls look like they're no more than like maybe 13, some as young, look like they could be 12 years old, and they're out on the street and they're being trafficked, and they're walking and they're like standing at the corner at late hours of the night, and nobody really wants to intervene because they've been told that a gang could jump you if you say or look at them or do anything, because they've been, kidnapped, and you don't know who these people are that are over these girls, and when you intervene, they then try to attack you. So people are afraid of even saying anything. So, but we notice that the girls are starting to look younger and younger that are being solicited on the streets. So I believe that's why they recently changed the sex trafficking laws from minor or misdemeanor charges to a felony, because there's a longer laundry list of what is going on with these young girls that are on the street. But anyway, we'll see how this story develops, but I would bet that he's involved in pedophilia, because that's what it sounds like. That's what I'm reading from this article. That's what it sounds like he might have been involved in. If you're favoring the girl students, if you're asking them to get food from the cafeteria and come sit with you for lunch exclusively, and then if you're asking girls to sit on your lap, and then he kills these people up here, but he doesn't hurt the girls. They had daughters. Who knows what he would have done to the daughters had the daughters not been led to safety? That is the question.